Welcome to Bindle country in the Burdekin here. This is a burial site we're standing at, and these were the first remains brought back in 1987. We're really privileged to have the first lot of remains brought back in Queensland, because it also benefits our people to know where our ancestors come from. The burial site here, we've got 4 sets of remains here, and they're all from around the local area. Also, we've got our totem, our Gudjuda dreaming, and it's a carpet snake or carpet python, and it's measured 63 metres long and about 1 metre thick. Also, it's looking over protecting the remains, but also it's looking after our cultural centre and our deck cafe. So it's very cultural significant for us here to have a look at our culture and also respect our elders that have passed on.
We'll do some bush tucker stuff. So that plant there is matrush, and matrush is all edible. Get that bottom part. That's all food, tastes like celery. This one. It's got a nutty taste. And we would cut it there and bring it back. They also make basket with it. So they weave baskets with it. I've seen the people in Byron Bay beating this up, mashing it, and then putting it in water. And then they weave it when it's green and turn it into a basket. We used to do the same when we were kids, like we'd strip it, then make a headband. This plant grows everywhere. People have got them as ornament plants in the main street. Do it quickly. And then we just braid it, and then we can use it as a tie or headband. That's it. You can make them longer, but that's to tie things up with. Combine things, and we used to make a headband like that. A lot of kid stuff, but also bush food and basket making. So this is to help people and get kids interested, so that they understand that's what they can do with it. This plant fibre. Okay, so that we call it, in the book you'll find it under matrush. We call it Gindarigan. 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 That plant there is pepper tree. This one directly above us. And you can see the straight sticks coming out of there. There's one big straight one there. But we get a younger plant that's closer to the ground and bend it over. And when the rains come and all the suckers come out, that's when they produce the really straight little sticks like that one just there, the dead one. And that's good for fire stick. So you can drill pepperwood into milky pine, that tree behind the palm tree. Your palm trees here, the cabbage tree palm, when they fall down, if they don't fall down, if we want to make a spear, we burn them down. We get a fire and build it right there at the base. Then the tree will fall down, and then we split it and turn it into spear points. They make really good spear points. So that one there is very, very important. All the spear handles there, look. Great spear handles. Also, these are fire sticks. You'd get that one there and turn it into a fire stick. And you can drill this into itself. You use one part of the tree for the base, and you would use that nice straight one there for a fire drill. Cape York people use that a lot. Wet. When it's nice and wet like that. Basically, you can see you can't break that, no matter how hard you try. We can tie anything up with it. To refine it, we take the inner white bark out of there. It's that white inner bark there that we want. We can make fishing line, nets, rope. Most of the nations of the Pacific utilize this plant, and also they make very good outriggers for canoe. When you go into the main forest on the beach area, you find really thick native hibiscus like that up there, and they get them with a bow in them, take them out, dry them, and then it floats really, really well. But this here is the main thing, is that fish. See, that's a fish spear there, right there. And you could turn any one of them, this big one here, into a wop spear for turtle, because once you drive the hardwood into the shell with the barb on it, that will float. It's like bamboo. It's that bit there. Even that, you could make twine with that one. But if you want to make really nice refined string, you split it again. When you're doing that, you never go past right angles. Right angles, I went like this, and I went down there. You never do that. It will just break. Okay, you never go past right angles, so you always create a Y, and then you pull it, and it comes apart. So I'll hang that up, let it dry, and when I come back, it should be dry enough to turn into string. Oh, it's good and tarry too. You taste it. Tastes like licorice.
Sweet. What is it, that bit there?
Just grab a leaf. See that slither there?
Yeah.
Get rid of the seed. When you've been out hunting all day, you know, and you've got that bitter taste in your mouth, this takes all that bitterness out of it. If you're unsure about a tree when you see it, but this should bleed milk. It's got that milk slowly. You see the white in there? That sap tells me who this tree is. It's milky for me. And if you wanted to make fire, you just take a chunk of this dry timber here, and you can drill into that, drill in there, and you get fire. It saves you turning into a vegetarian. We'll go in, eh? Blueberry. But we call it pepperwood, because it smells like pepper. When you break it, it smells like pepper. When you're drilling in a forest like this one, because you've got so much, what's the name of that? That's their fibre. So when you're drilling, your spark from your fire drill should fall on there, and you use this fibre like a mesh, and you get a big mob of it and put it together. And when your spark falls on there, you just hold it like that and blow in there, and your fire starts quick. So that's a fire starter. Cabbage palm. Trying to think of it while I'm talking. But that hardwood trunk is the one we would go after. Especially down here. In the rainforest, you go up there, you find black palm. Black palm is different, it doesn't grow here, but this is the equivalent of black palm. And to get it down, you burn it down. Corkwood. It's another light timber, but the grain of this timber is much coarser than milky pine. Sometimes it'll rip your fire drills to bits. This tree. The palm, that's also good to eat. All the palm hearts are very good to eat. Your black wattle there for fire stick, boomerang, and hardwood tips also. Casuarina is really good to find and camp underneath. See how it creates a mat? When we find these trees, they're normally on the beach. Underneath them no grass grows, and there's a big thick mat of their leaves on the ground, so you can lay on top and have a nice soft sleep. In here, all of that is leaf litter, but no tree grow there. No grass, because this tree here won't allow it. Yeah, see, she oak beech tree. When they grow big, it'll be like that over there, where nothing, it'll get rid of all them weeds underneath. That tree will just drop its leaves and none of them weeds will grow there. You got sandpaper there. Another one here, I think. Gudjuda. Gudjuda is leichhardt tree, and the fruit on it, it smells nice. It smells nice and sweet, but when you bite it, it's bitter, tardy. So we mix it with honey, crush it up and then mix it with a bit of honey, and it makes it palatable. This one here is African flame, or red tulip, but it's no good. It's a hard tree to get rid of out of your yard. It's a tree that'll fall on your house if you got it there. That one. Milky pine. Straight after Cyclone Yazi, the only trees left standing intact was these trees. So you want to build something like a wall of trees to stop windbreak, you use these trees. The Jiman tree. We've got red figs there, but we call that banba. You only eat that when you've got a problem with your stomach. That's giro, eh? That's giro. It's a fruit tree. That's an ancient tree there. It's got a nice fruit on it too. I eat them. You can see them growing around, but it comes from way back when the dinosaurs were here. That tree. It's got a nice fruit on it. I don't know the name of it, but you can eat the fruit on that tree. Nice little red fruit. That little bird singing out there comes from New Guinea. He's a fantail, and he flies down here every year with the blackbird, the spangled drongo, and the stormbirds. They all migrate this way. You got a big voice for a little fella, right? Big voice. And there's your sandpaper fig. It's self-explanatory. You just use them to do all your polishing. They made canoes with these too when they had them, when they come down, the canoe. That's the leichhardt tree or Gudjuda. This is cluster fig. This big tree here is what we make our shields out of. And the fruit grows out of the tree trunk. When that grows big, those buttresses down the bottom will grow really large. If they're in a rainforest, they will grow really large. Like in this forest, they would grow that big. So the fruit doesn't grow on the branches, it grows out of the tree trunk itself. And we call that bakery. This one is bush tobacco. Bush tobacco tree. See how you can crush it and it doesn't fall apart, doesn't become too brittle. And we eat the fruit on that tree. The fruit has got really rich in vitamin C. It's bittersweet, but they're red when you eat them, and it's very rich in vitamin C. I think that's vertical plum there. Yeah, it is. There, look, see the plums up there? So we call that nagoba. Don't know what colour they'll be. I think they'll be the green or white flesh, that one. All your wattle trees now growing, and they're the indicators for the blue-tailed mullet coming up here from the south. So as soon as we see them, we build our fish spears and go down the beach and in the rivers, and we hunt the big mullet. They're already there and they're full of roe. Right now they're full up with roe. I got some the other day and they were really, I mean the roe would be thick as both fingers there like that, but round, big. They were just full. This is the river boxwood. River boxwood there's a couple of uses for it, but normally it grows out in the drier country and they accumulate all along the riverbed. And that big white tree way over, see that's cluster fig. That's a big cluster fig. The one over there in the middle. That's your bleeding heart. Bleeding heart is a very short spear handle tree. One of the Wild family, Granny Ivy, that's her Aboriginal name, come from this tree. And we call her Bunya Bunya. So that tree's named Bunya Bunya. Well, I got three grandmothers, Bunya Bunya. Mala Gulbay is left fist clenched. That's the other sister, Granny Alice Wild. And then my grandmother, who is Granny Nora Sambo Boyd. And her name is derived after the sound of a waterfall. She got two names, one from Hinchinbrook Island, which is Jurgul, sugar bag, and the other one is Mungaru, the sound of a waterfall. So they're very important plants. So as I'm talking about them, we associate ourselves with every plant that we have. It doesn't matter who you are as an Aboriginal, you fit into this environment. This is our environment. This is us. We don't even have to talk about it. We just go there and we see the plants as we're supposed to see them, and we associate ourselves with. So if you're named after them, that's your plant. That's who you are. Okay, and then you got the bigger one over here. This is Macaranga, and that one there is again like spear handles. Very light. It's similar to that one at the front there, that native hibiscus. But that one there, you can see it's got bigger leaves. Hasn't got the red vein, it's got the yellow. And inside that tree, there's red sap that we mix with hardeners like gum tree sap, beeswax, and that's when you get your texture that you can work with. It'll work when you're building a spear and you want to seal all your fibre. all your string and stuff, that's when you utilize that red sap, and it makes it look really nice. Beeswax is a softener, this is a hardener, and the gum tree is a hardener. This is a fish poison. This is that other one. It's really good fish poison. You got a witchetty grub or good one, he's in there now. So if I was hungry and I wanted a snack, I'd just break that branch and that witchetty grub be in there. What we call guban. They love eating this tree. They eventually will kill it. They don't grow a real lot bigger than that, but they end up with a seed on it. They're all flowers at the minute, but they end up with that curly seed, you see. Here. When they're green, they produce really, really white soap. And that soap is the one that they use for fish poison. This curly thing here. But when it's green. When it's just after turning brown, it's still got some of the medicine in it. And that's when you can use it for rash too. You can use it for rashes. There's another grub in there, look. See how he come out? He's gone inside and broken all the inside part. Another one here. They've broken the skin and all the sap coming out. This plant here is also an edible plant for upset stomach. This come out in the bullock's guts. So when they brought it out here, the cow went to the toilet on the land, he still had that seed in him. And that's when you get these leaves here. Even though it come from England, we still utilize it. Most cattle properties people, they get them and they crush it until it's silky to feel in your fingers. You got to rub it like that, and it's starting getting silky now. And then you can eat it. And that'll help you bind up inside. On the Cape, I think they call this soapy bush. So when you get a green, when it's green, it's white soap. When it's dead like that, it's a red soap. They use that for fish poison mostly on Cape York. Just a hardwood. These are hardwood, you can use them as spear tip. When I was little we made really good Shanghai pork there. You see, real solid. So as soon as this flowers, it's telling us. Also the other flower flowering with it is the broadleaf tea tree. And they're just coming in now and they're getting real strong. And so this is the beginning to middle of winter. And as it goes out, the big river tea trees like that one there will bloom. Not the one with the red bark, but the other one. Nice white bark. But they tell us when things are going to happen. So as soon as you see this, you know. Build your fish spears. Go down the river. And all them big mullet will be there. And you can sit around and eat. Them Birren here too, I can hear him. There. Here. Needletail. Kinky. There. He lives in the ground. Doesn't live in a tree, he lives underneath the ground. He dig a hole in the ground here somewhere. Probably up on the high bank. They're lovely, eh? They're beautiful birds. Soapy bush. We call it smoky wattle. That's a very mature tree. And he's lucky to be here. The grub should have eaten him. But there's witcheties in that gum tree there, see? They're killing him. If we cut that down or dug that roots up, we get big witcheties in there. That's some real thick ones like my thumb, about that long. They're in there. That's one of the My favourite trees. Townsville wattle. Wild yam. It's got yams underneath. See where that vine goes in the ground? Looks like bamboo leaf. And an evergreen tree trunk. And underneath there, well, not far down, you dig it up and you find all these little yams, probably about as big as my fingernail, underneath the ground there, growing all over the ground here. It's good. So this is a batwing coral tree. We make our good womras from the timber from that tree. Also, there's a little frog that lives with it. If you're in an area where it's pretty harsh and one of them's growing, because they do grow in harsh country, you dig down, you find a little frog, little fat belly frog, and he always has water. And you can deprive him of that water, but then you've got to kill him because you've taken his water away. Because normally it's in real dry country, and you can eat the frog. But a lot of Murray people don't like picking up frog, but when you're hungry you got to do it. So that tree is like corkwood, you know? See the corkwood on the bark? The cork is not the wood, it's the bark that comes off the tree that they make the corks for wine and whatever. But that's not the tree, that's the batwing coral. This fella here is pandanus. And we can eat this. This is an indicator for water if you're out on the open area. And it's also a dead giveaway from where the old people sat down and ate this food and utilised this fibre here. The fibre in there is the thing. The women get it and they strip the outer bark off of the green one, that is, and then they take the outer bark off, and that's the fibre that they want there. See that fibre? But it's normally green when they do it. But you can still utilise this thing. It's got spikes on it, so you've got spikes going down the edge, and normally you have spikes going down here, but there's none on this one. So they would roll that on the leg. If you've got hairy leg, you bug it up. So you get all that fibre and you make them come together, and then it becomes really strong. Even though that's dried out now. And if you find a dead branch of this thing and it's raining, you find a dead branch of it laying on the ground, you make a fire and it's raining and you want to carry fire, you burn the core of this tree. So we hollow the core out because the core is all fibre. Then we drop our spark in there and then we blow on it. And once it starts burning, we carry it upside down. And you can walk for miles and you've got fire in the rain. When you get to the other end, all you've got to do is find all your dry timber, which is all fibre, which is normally on a tree. It's not laying on the ground when it's raining. It's an old people's fruit. Those holes there is all peanut. That's all peanuts in there. So you can see that's the hairy bit there. They use that brush too, a paintbrush. But when we get it, we cut it across that way, and then we make a toothpick out of wood, a branch, and then pick that peanuts out of it, right there. This tree here is Mirinda, or rotten cheese fruit. We got some on up there, but they smell terrible. But they taste sweet. When you taste them, they got sugar in them. So this tree here, if you want to buy it in the shop, it's a help. It's a thing to prevent cancer here. There's one. That's the morinda fruit. And when they're ripe, they get that greeny, clear sort of look about them. And you can smell them. They're sweet, but the smell is no good. It puts you off. So in the shop, you can find it under noni juice in a health shop. You go in there and look for noni juice, and they made the noni juice so you can take it and you have some every day, and it helps to prevent cancer. So a lot of our bush foods actually do that for us, and this is one of them. It grows all over the beaches, and they call it noni juice, morinda. This is also a good sap for, it's bloodwood, this fella. We call it kurukun. And big mob, you must have a big mob of possum here. It's been climbing all over this tree. But the blood red sap comes out of here is also assists in sealing a spear or artifacts that you mix with beeswax. You mix the sap from this tree with beeswax, and then you end up with a nice red glue. Chinaman apple there, you got Chinese apples that come out with the gold rush. The gold rush people brought it out here, they're Chinese, and this is their bush food. That's why they call it chinky apple. It's a crude name. It's a pest now. It grows all over the country. Got a big mob of thorns on it. But we eat it. Where it's growing, we eat it. That's the cluster fig. We'll go this way, eh? As your cluster figs get bigger, your buttresses will get bigger. And you can see the fruit coming out of it there, look. See the fruit coming out of the tree trunk? There's one on the ground here too. Bitter. It's not sweet because it's too young. It's gone ripe because it fell off the tree too early. But that's the tree there. Fruit. See the tree? The fruit comes out of the tree trunk, not on the end of the branch like apples and oranges. It's different. So when this tree grows big, it will grow big. I promise you it'll grow big. Those buttresses is where we carve our shields out. We carve them on the tree, and the last thing we do is take them off the tree. We shape them, do everything on the tree. Because the tree holds onto the artifact, and the last thing you do is take it off. So it's got cross fibres in there. So when a spear hits this wood, it will go in, but it won't split the wood. Cluster fig is very important. This is mistletoe. And we eat the fruit on it. Same like the little bird who grew that tree there. The little mistletoe bird. When he eats it and he can't pass the seed all the way out, when he goes to the toilet, it sticks to his muyu, and that's when he wipes his muyu on the branch here. Right there, to get the seed off his bottom. And because he's fertilized it with his excrement, that's when it grows on the branch and the fruit tree grows off it. So that's how it's passed on. You've got to watch out for them spitfire, they sting you. This is a bush peanut. That red one there might have fruit in it. Oh, he's full of grub, see? Coming too early. But when they open up naturally like that red one there, been invaded by a bug, but the green ones are up there now and the leaves are falling off, and when the leaves fall off they turn red. They're all sun ripened, and when they split open they got the peanut inside, and then we get them, and you got to clean the black skin off, then the creamy stuff, and then the peanut shell. So there's 3 bits to get off, and that's what it's supposed to look like. But big ones, you normally have really big ones. They'll grow that long. Some of them. The bark on this tree is probably the ones that we make kangaroo net and probably heavy duty nets, fish net, out of this tree. This bark is very, very strong, very strong. So we would take the inner bark of this tree and then turn it into a string or a rope, and then we utilize it for fishing or making kangaroo nets. So they're flowering now, so you can set your calendar with this one too. They do exactly the same thing. Silver wattle.